Not just being a football player or being a part of a team, but like trying to be the best at it. Because, anyone can do something, but if you're going to do it, why not put all your effort into it?
Because I want to be pro at something. Because a professional takes a level of precision with their craft, and that means that person's no joke.
Martial arts gave me a voice. With my nickname, the Karate Hot, I thought it was going to be a stand-up fight. I ended up taking the girl down like 7 times and winning the fight.
The day that I retired, I took extra batting practice because I was given this gift and I didn't want to just say, okay, it's all over and done with, but I still had that energy inside of me that I wanted to do more.
When everybody else was looking at the circumstances that surrounded me, what I was looking at was, what do I do when I've got a ball in my hands?
MICHAEL STRAHAN, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
When you're growing up, you're in Germany most of the time, and I know you came back. You're in Houston for a while, but was any of this a plan?
No, absolutely not. My biggest plan when I left Germany I moved in with my uncle. I stayed with my uncle for like 5 months or so to get a football scholarship because my dad sent me back to stay with my uncle. And he said, "Yeah, you're going to get a football scholarship." He just said, "You're gonna do it." My dad never said if. It was always like when. So when he said you're going to do it, I never doubted it. I was so naive about failure that, okay, I'm going to get a football scholarship. I'll get one. I come back, I get a scholarship. And then everything was like just the next step. What was the next step from getting a scholarship was, okay, finally going to college. And then once I'm in college, not just being a football player or being a part of a team, but like trying to be the best at it. Because, anyone can do something, but if you're going to do it, why not put all your effort into it? And that's just kind of been how I've been about everything. I never really had a plan. My biggest plan was just never having to move back in with my parents. That was it.
But that almost happened, right? Like, it's funny in life, we get really close. There's like moments that determine our destiny in our life. It's very, one decision, one relationship, one meeting away from really changing your life. And I was prepping for this, I'm like, man, after your freshman year of college, didn't you kind of go back to Germany? Am I getting this right? And you literally almost quit. If that happens, this is probably most of what I just introduced, probably all of it never happens if you follow through with that decision. So you were that one decision away. Tell us about that. What happened in your conversation with your dad?
Well, I think that I followed through. None of it happens. I was like a lot of kids. I was homesick. And I was just ready to go back to Germany. I had my girlfriend and, you're missing your girlfriend, you're missing your friends, you're missing your mom and dad and everyone else. So for me, I wanted to go home. Yeah. College at that point to me seemed like, okay, I got the football scholarship. That didn't mean I needed to complete it. I did it. so I go home and I was literally I'm there at home. School had started like 2 weeks had gone by already.
Oh my gosh.
And then my dad comes in one day and he goes, "Hasn't school started?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, what are you doing? Shouldn't you be back?" And I'm going, "Yeah, but I decided I'm not going back." And he looked at me and he goes, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I'm going to stay here. I'll get a job." And he looked at me again. His voice got deeper than mine. And he said, "What are you going to do?" And bam, light bulb went on. First of all, I can't stay here.
Yeah.
And secondly, you have to at some point grow up and take care of yourself. Your parents give you all the tools. And I had been fantastic parents who gave me everything that I needed to be on my own. Now it was time for me to apply those things. So a light bulb went off in my head that, okay, you can't stay home. You're going back to school. When you get to school, since you got to be there, work hard at it. Just don't be another student. Just don't be another athlete. If you're going to do it, be your best that you can be at it.
Were you surprised when you got there? I was in college, but maybe you're surprised by this in the NFL too. You get this opportunity to play college football. And by the way, the other thing too is he's at a historically black college. It's Texas Southern, right? That's where you
Texas Southern.
So, this is not like pathway to the NFL, right? Like this is not, I think you're the only NFL Hall of Famer from Texas Southern, I think. Am I right about that? Yeah. So you're far away, but it surprised me even when I got into business or I played college baseball, or you had this in the NFL. Aren't you surprised by somehow the lack of work ethic, even of people that have these great opportunities? And was that what separated you, do you think?
Yeah. I think, I was amazed by the guys who had so much talent.
Yeah.
Just refused to expand it, refused to perfect it. And you're never going to be perfect, but at least strive to perfect the talent that you were given. And I found that guys who weren't as talented seemed to go further because they worked harder. And I mean, Ed, I'm in an HBCU, not a football factory at Texas Southern University. I didn't know, what the way out of there and where the path led for me once school was over. I didn't know it was going to lead to the NFL. I just knew that this is where I was and I was going to work hard at it. Yeah. And once I was a senior and started seeing the scouts and hearing from the scouts, I started to go, well, maybe I have a shot. But I never thought that it was legit until I got that call on draft day. But I saw so many guys who were more talented than me, who didn't push themselves, didn't work hard. But once our senior year rolled around and they realized that after this year, I'm no longer on scholarship, then they wanted to work out.
That's exactly what I saw too. Yep.
The scouts are coming here now to see, they be honest with you, they were coming to see me. You're asking me to let you in on my workouts. You didn't earn the right, to be honest with you. Mm. And so to see guys scramble because they didn't prepare ahead of time was a great lesson for me in everything that I do. Do not ever be in a situation where you regret not putting in the work when it comes time for that final product to present itself.
Phil Heath, welcome to the show.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so good to have you.
Yeah.
Bro. I don't think most people, Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia. It's like, my gosh, the amount of work that must have taken, the amount of mental fortitude. And you say, you believe all people were born to do something really special with their life, right?
100%.
Elaborate on that. But did you think that then? Or have you sort of realized that now that you've really done something special with your life?
A little bit of both. I think I was, I had some prophetic moments in my life. One would be, earning a Division I scholarship and being interviewed by the Seattle Times. Hey, Phil, do you have any aspirations of going to NBA? I still remember this quote. And I said, I was 17. And I said, I don't know about the NBA, but I plan on being pro at something.
You did at 17.
Yeah. I said, because I want to be pro at something. And I didn't know what that would be, obviously. Yeah. But I wanted to, because a professional takes a level of precision with their craft and, to be a pro at something. That means that person's no joke.
Yeah.
They're not average. And for me, I had an old roommate that nicknamed me the Gift. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking arrogant. Oh, people are going to lay into me if I use this. And we sat there and he goes, no, you're the gift because you have one. It's completely different than the typical negative stereotypes of a bodybuilder. You come from a different background.
Yeah.
And you're able to relate to people in different sports, bringing them into bodybuilding.
It's true.
You speak well, you just look different. And you have a different story, and then one day you're going to share this with people. I mean, he had a moment for sure to see something in me.
That's huge.
I was very thankful of that. So I used the nickname, and then I realized that how do I preach this message to others? It's more of we're all born with one, a gift. But it's on us to, when they say, oh, I got to find my calling. It's you already have something special. What you're afraid of doing is working hard at it.
Wow.
You're afraid. And once you step up and you stare at yourself in the mirror and know who the hell you are, and you fail, but you fail forward and you learn and you keep working at this, you put yourself in a better position to succeed. And then once you get one level, then you go to the next one. See, a lot of people, they stay at that one level because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But just like a video game, I talk to kids and they play these games and stuff. As the levels get higher, the difficulty increases as well.
Yeah.
But you have a choice when you die in the game. Continue or game over.
Very good.
It actually gives you a choice.
Yeah.
You actually have a choice in your life.
Oh, Phil, that's good.
So I chose to keep going just to see. And when I started, looking better and feeling more confident, and trust me, my first competition, I had so much false bravado. Let me tell you, I thought walking out there on stage and just having this, like Terminator look, and it was so much insecurity in my heart.
Really?
That's why I did that.
Really?
I wasn't sure of myself.
Mm.
And then the crowd's laughing.
At you?
See, I thought the same.
Okay.
They're laughing because I done smoked the whole damn show.
Okay, you did.
But see how your mind and with your reality is two different things.
Yeah.
I was so scared, man, that I didn't know. And then until this lady screams out, she goes, "Smile, you're beautiful." And everybody starts laughing again. I was like, oh, I guess I do look good.
Wow.
But the whole time my training partners are saying, dude, you're going to smoke this. But I didn't want to believe. It took another person to tell me that in my time of vulnerability, literally wearing the trunks and stuff with no mirror in front of me to see if I'm doing it right.
Huh.
And then I owned it.
That's one of my favorite things anyone's ever said on the show. That whole piece right there, what you just said. And I've done a lot of shows. But the fact that we all have a gift in us.
Yes.
And that it's identifying that gift, and that so many of us are afraid.
Yeah.
Do you think that the afraid of doing the work? Think they're afraid of doing the work? Are they afraid they're going to fail? Like, it's almost like if I don't know what my gift is, then I can sort of stay in this space of like, I don't know, I'll figure it out eventually.
You're BSing yourself the whole entire time, and then you're going to hate yourself later on.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see that person get what's yours.
Wow.
They're going to get, you got a very nice watch on. I love it.
Thank you.
I want to get one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I quit, I ain't going to get it. Right. Then I'm going to be jealous.
Yeah.
That guy got the girl that I wanted, or that guy got the vacation for his family that he wanted. What's preventing you from doing it? You. You're telling me that man, that woman is any better than you? No. They just did the work, especially when no one was watching their ass.
That's the big thing about your sport, bro. It's not a team. It's a team sport because I suppose you sometimes train with other guys, but I bet in your case you trained alone a lot.
I'm like Chuck Norris, man. Yeah. Like, I do this alone.
Right. And is that part of that reason? Like, you didn't want to know what you were doing? You wanted to know how you looked? Or is just you wanted the solace of just being in that mode by yourself?
Well, I was raised as an only child.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed, especially playing basketball, hanging out with your friends. But when it came to bodybuilding, I knew that I'm going to be standing on that stage alone. And they have an entourage. So they're so used to having everybody pump them up,
so good,
tell them how great they are. Oh, come on, champ, you got it, champ. And I'm thinking, no, it's just me and the weights. If anything, I'm going to go insane and I'm going to talk trash to these weights. Then I'm going to look at myself in the mirror of saying, do you have one more? I'm literally that nuts. Like, I'm like, you want more, don't you? Hell yeah, let's go. Or, man, that was great. Or, well, I'm going through a really tough time. And I don't feel it's necessary to have someone carry that for me.
Or you. Yeah.
I don't want them to do that.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't want to be responsible to saying, hey, Ed, I'm training at 2:30 and then I get in a meeting and then I'm late. And then now you're like, gosh, like I really wanted to train with you, Phil, but I got a wife and kids at home. Like I got other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Now I done screwed you over.
Yeah.
And I damn sure don't want you doing that to me.
You guys, just want you to picture something. It's like there's a lot of you that you're feeling far from your dream right now. Like you got this dream, people think you're crazy, and probably with COVID, you probably even feel further away. I just want you to picture something. Here's this girl, she's a ring card girl. She's one of the hotties walking around the ring with the card, round 2. I want you to picture this, right? And then when she leaves there, she's working over at Hooters, right? I want you to picture this, okay? The ring card girl goes from carrying what round it is to someday becoming into the UFC and winning like crazy in that actual octagon. She was once the ring card girl, and you can't get further away than that. And that's what happened to Michelle. Can you please tell me how the heck you go from that? Was there like a moment when you're like a ring card girl that like started this process to becoming one of the actual fighters? How'd that happen?
Well, I actually did martial arts growing up. I have an older brother, and it was my life. I actually absolutely saved me at a pivotal point in my life where it gave me a voice. I had an older brother, and I wanted to be just like him. We watched Ninja Turtles and Mortal Kombat and Power Rangers.
Ninja Turtles.
And there was a little, community center down the street that my parents could afford to put all of us in. And martial arts gave me a voice. Going to college, right as I applied for college, my dad said, baby girl, I got you. And so I applied to DU, a private school, and I got accepted. And then my dad lost his job. So to pay for the school, I got a job at Hooters.
Okay.
So I was working at Hooters part-time, going to school full-time, and really was kind of just in this gray area. And I lost myself for a while. I stopped doing martial arts. I didn't have a purpose. I kind of was just floating along. And I, as a Hooters girl, I would do odd jobs. I did photo shoots for different magazines and calendar shoots and this and that. And so one of my odd jobs was being a ring girl. I had no idea what MMA was.
Wow.
So I took the job as a ring girl, and I remember like learning all the rules as a ring girl, like, hold on, so they can do all these different martial arts that doesn't matter, so they could kick people's face and take them down. Wow. Like, I was so intrigued, and I was like, this is like, I have a background in this. I could do this. And I remember telling the promoter, hey, I have a background in martial arts. I'm a black belt in karate. I do wushu. I've done kempo. I've competed for over 9-10 years. Yeah. And he kind of looked at me and just like almost like laughed it off, like, do you believe me? Because I'm here with this like push-up brawl and a little schoolgirl skirt on. And so, but Donald Cerrone was a local fighter then, and he overheard me and kind of just called me on my bluff, I guess. He came to Hooters and left a note and said, if you're serious about fighting, get your ass in the gym.
Wow. And
I took him up on his offer, and I started training with him.
Wow. That's like almost that's like divine intervention. I did not know that little piece of it. It was Cowboy Cerrone that overhears you, goes into Hooters and leaves you a damn note. See, for you, it's your life now. So you're like, yeah, that's what happened. But when you hear that back, you're like, wow, that's destiny meeting you, right? And I think for everybody listening to this, one, if you feel far from your dream, this should give you hope. Because the irony is, you're so much closer than you think you are. And so are you. You were literally standing in the octagon you would someday fight in. That's crazy, number one, right? That is crazy. But then the other thing, because it happened to me too, like in my business career too, maybe you fall off your dream for a while. Maybe it goes away. Maybe you get lost. Maybe you're drifting. And I think what happens is you go, okay, I'm disqualified now. Game over. I was chasing it. Now I'm not. It's over. It's never over. It's never freaking over. There's always a shot. And you're proof of that. That just blows my mind. So you go from there. Okay. So now you're like, all right, I'm going to start training. You actually take them up on it. Was there a point where you're like, wow, I could do this? Was there a point or did you know it immediately? Or was there still like a lot of doubt? Because one of the things I must say that I love about you is you seem like this contradiction. That's why I root for you. You seem to me to be somebody who's very vulnerable. Working on her self-confidence all the time as she's winning fights, as she's, you're like a real human being. I think that's why people root for you. And so I'm wondering, was there a point that you didn't believe it? And then there was this moment where you're like, oh no, I could probably do this.
Yeah, I would say both of those things. I would say that the reason why I got into it is because it intrigued me. Here I am, so I had this black belt in American freestyle karate, so I think I'm like hot shit. And I remember going into, Donald had taken me to like this YMCA gymnasium, and I'm like, where are we going? And we literally went in, like past the basketball courts and went into this room where there were these like old wrestling mats and just people just gearing up, putting on their gear. And he was like, all right, put your gear on. And it was just a bunch of random, like Joe Schmo people that wanted to be fighters. They all got together and they sparred. They beat the crap out of each other. And I think he kind of wanted to test me. And I remember sparring with him actually, and going to throw an axe kick to him because that was like one of my go-to moves in point sparring. And I remember him kicking my leg from out under me and me falling to the mat and knocking the wind out of myself. And him standing over me and saying, don't ever do that shit again. And I was just, completely thrown off. I thought knew my stuff, and realizing that there was still so much to learn is what captivated me and what intrigued me. It's like, I was a black belt, and I thought I had all this knowledge in martial arts, and come to realize that I was still so green, so novice, that it's what drove me to want more.
Do you think, see, I have this notion I've developed like the last year, that the most happy and fulfilled people and the most successful, they trend this line that I see that I think you have, which is that they work on their self-confidence. They're very you can't win if you're not confident, but they have an ability to mirror that with unbelievable humility. And that humility allows them to be coachable, to be humble, to want to grow, to know what they don't know, to be curious, right? And so I get that you were like, wow, I got a lot to learn. But when was the moment where you're like, no, I could win? This is something could be my life. When was that?
Like those moments, it's weird that you say that, because I do feel like those moments, they come and they go. There are moments that you're really, really comfortable. You have super highs and then you have super lows. I remember going into my first match and taking it with 4 weeks of MMA training. And it being I took a couple of kickboxing smokers, and my first MMA fight was supposed to be an amateur fight, but the girl that I was training for to fight fell through. And the only girl that they had available was a pro fighter. I remember just being so excited to get in there and do what I had been like, what I had fallen in love with, that, winning or losing didn't matter. But just the fact that I was able to go in there, and everybody, with my nickname, the Karate Hottie, thought it was going to be a stand-up fight. I ended up taking the girl down like 7 times and winning the fight. I was on this high, and it was like, this is what I want to do. I mean, I want to pursue, this, what other way will I be able to continue my martial arts and make money? Like, that's what I want to do. And then, you get put flat on your back, you get, you get your nose broken, you lose, and then you lose your confidence. You don't just lose, physically, you also lose emotionally. And it's not just, you go to work and you lose a case, or you lose this or you lose that. The world gets to see you get beat up,
Yeah.
And I think part of me too is very, like you said, I grew up in, military household with a strict Asian mother. And so a lot of things are like very, strict and by the book. And so, especially in martial arts too, it's like white belt, yellow belt, orange belt. You have to work your way up to be a black belt. And so in my mind, I had to work my way up to be a champion in order for me to exude that confidence that, Ali has, that John Jones has, that Conor McGregor has. And so I was always like treading that line of trying to be humble and respectful versus like believing in myself. I remember talking to my sports psychologist, and him saying, when Michael Jordan was at his pinnacle, when he was at his peak, would you call him the greatest of all time? Of course, yes, we all did. We all do still. And then he asked me, do you think he still had things to work on? And I said, yeah, of course. And he worked on those things constantly. So he said, you could be both at the same time.
Very good.
You could be great and still be working towards more greatness.
Everybody, this is Hall of Famer Rod Carew. Rod, thank you for being here, brother.
Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you. Not only is he a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, but this man's lived through a massive heart attack that would have killed him if he was on the wrong golf hole. He's had a heart transplant. There's another heart in this man's body beating right next to me. He's also had the tragedy of losing his daughter, Michelle, to leukemia. And so there's an awful lot of life lessons that could have taken this guy out that didn't. So we got a lot to talk about today.
When I was a kid growing up, every time that I took the field to play baseball, it was like I was better than everybody else. God had given me this talent and say, here, this is your gift from me. Work at it and continue to better yourself. And I did.
You did.
I took extra batting practice every day of my 19 years in baseball.
Extra every day.
Every day. And also, the day that I retired, I took extra batting practice.
The day you retired, you took extra batting. You did one more.
One more. Because I was given this gift, and I didn't want to just say, okay, it's all over and done with, but I still had that energy inside of me that I wanted to do more.
That's incredible.
And
I'm writing a book right now called The Power of One More. And so the fact that you say this, it's something I learned from you, is that you don't remember this, but we'd be hitting, and even if I hit a good last one, you always go, let's do one more. And we'd hit one more. And I have taken that since I was a little boy in business. I'm gonna make one more phone call. If I'm running on the treadmill at the gym, it's 30 minutes, I go, let's do one more minute.
Right.
And the fact that you're now telling me that you retired and you took one more round of extra batting practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was never satisfied. I knew the gift that I had. And I knew that I probably could have just gone through life and being a mediocre hitter. But I wanted to be the best.
You wanted to be great.
Yes, I wanted to be in the class of Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson and all these guys.
But you are. It's interesting to me that people that are listening or watching this right now, they've been given a gift of some type as well. They may not be aware of what it is yet. When it's an athletic gift and it's baseball and there's millions of people, it's kind of obvious, hey, I've got this gift, I'm going to become the best. But there's little gifts, there's an opportunity, there's a new position at your job, there's a chance to improve your financial, there's someone you could meet. And it's that treating it as precious and doing the extra. Because I'll bet you played with, we won't name who they are, but you played with other guys who had a gift similar to yours.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't take the extra batting practice. They didn't work in the off season.
And I used to tell this one player in particular, you are going to be out of this game by age 32. I says, God has given you everything. You can throw the ball as well as anybody. You can hit, you can run, you can field, but you're not using it. He says, well, it's okay. I says, no, it's not okay. You've got the talent. Strive to be greater than some of these other guys that don't care.
Yeah.
But he was out of the game at age 32.
He really was.
It really was.
And you had this unbelievable career. How many, you have 7 batting titles, right? So guys, in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, the batting title in the American League is now the Rod Carew Award. They've literally named the batting title every year after this man sitting here. Am I right about that? That kind of means you were pretty good.
Yeah. and my buddy, Tony Gwynn, who they named it after in the National League.
Who's a lot like you. Left-hander, didn't hit for a lot of power, had to grind, had to work hard, incredible student of hitting.
And we worked the same way every single day. We were working on something, because so many young players can look at videos and they want to pick themselves apart. Instead of looking for one thing that, okay, I'm going to look for this so that I can go out and spend some time working on it and getting comfortable with it and making the adjustment to make myself better.
Would you always be learning even late in your career? You've already hit 388 one year, you've led the league in hitting all these times. Were you still trying to find those little inches to improve upon all the time?
Every time I went out, it was to improve myself.
Kurt, welcome to the program, brother.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be on. As we were talking off air, my daughter's been a huge fan of your podcast and you for a long time, and so love that we get a chance to connect.
Even for you now, as a Hall of Famer, does it still just shock you that this has happened in your life?
Well, I mean, obviously there's part of you when you're going through some of those steps to go, okay, you don't know what the future is going to look like, but you definitely don't think it's going to look like that, much of the time. But by the same token, Ed, what I would say is that when everybody else was looking at the guy that sat on the bench for 4 years, or the guy that was cut, or the guy that was working in a grocery store, what I was looking at is, okay, when I did play 1 year in college, I was the player of the year in my conference. When I played 3 years in arena football, we went to 2 championship games and I was the best quarterback in the league for 3 years. The same in NFL Europe. So when everybody else was looking at the circumstances that surrounded me, what I was looking at was, what do I do when I've got a ball in my hands? And so that to me is really what kept me going. And that's really, in my mind, what defined me. It was more, I'm just not getting the opportunity. Nobody's ever shown me that I can't do it. So there's nothing in my mind that's going to tell me I can't do it, no matter what anybody says. The problem was, as there was a problem with, a lot of people, is you're going through life and you're just like, I just need that opportunity. Somebody give me that opportunity. And I was fortunate that although it was a little later in the game and after going through some different obstacles, I was given that opportunity. And when given that opportunity, I believe, because I believe that stuff about myself, I was able to take that opportunity and run with it.
Unbelievable description of it, because I think people are listening to this right now. This is such a Christmas gift for my audience to have you. And by the way, guys, I'm not a movie promoter. Go see the movie. It's something you can see with your children. And it's a true story, right? But, I have to say to everybody listening to this, if you have a dream in your life and right now you're just lost and nobody else sees it and it just doesn't seem to be clicking, Kurt Warner is a story that you got to listen to. Stay to the end of today's show, because we're going to go through all kinds of different circumstances that he had to face and what he was thinking when he went through them. Stay with us today, because I think it's going to inspire you beyond belief. So I want to go back a minute, because that sounded good what you said, right? And I get that. But look, did you have self-doubt though, Kurt? I mean, like, you had a coach literally say to you, I'm watching the preview clip of the movie. By the way, the guys playing Mike Martz and Quaid playing Vermeil, they're just like spitting images of these guys, right? But I'm watching the clip, and did you legitimately have a coach tell you, one of your own coaches say to you, hey, you should be thinking about your post-football life? He literally said this to you?
Yeah, definitely. Because there was different steps along the way that, as a kid, everybody has the dream like, oh, yeah, I play football now, so I'm going to be an NFL superstar. And sometimes you need people to step into your life and go, dude, that's not in the cards for you. Now, you have to be realistic about where you're at. And once again, I don't know where he was at and what he was looking at when he said that. But, when you're at it, like you said, you're at a smaller school, at that time, 1AA school in Iowa, and you can't even get on the field, right. Sometimes it's like, hey, dude, get a dose of realism right here. Like, I don't know why you think this is still going to happen for you. And I think that was the mindset, was just, you're not doing the things you have to do in this moment to think that you're going to have a career in football. And great story, when I was in college, I remember, being on the bench for those 4 years. And, I looked at myself and I thought, man, I'm more talented than the guy in front of me. Like, why can I not get on the field? In college, you have a spring game here or there, different times when even the backups get a chance to compete. And when I competed in those games, I was like, I was better than the guy in front of me. So I really couldn't grasp why I couldn't get on the field. And so I had a friend on the team that was a little bit older and had a better relationship with the coaches. And I just asked him, do you mind just going to the coaches and just asking them, what am I missing? Like, what am I not doing to get on the field and get this opportunity that I feel like I deserve? And I'll never remember him coming back to me and saying, well, the coaches said, you're not very good in practice. And, my first thought was kind of like Allen Iverson, as we've all heard the rant, like, are we really talking about practice? Like, practice. When I get into the life, I'm really good, but you're talking about practice? And that was my initial mindset. Like, you got to be kidding me. That's just an excuse. But then the more I thought about it, Ed, the more I thought to myself, 99% of, the impression that we leave on people is in practice, because especially when you talk about football, I mean, we play, high school, you play 10 games, college, maybe 11, NFL, 16 days a year. You get a chance to get under the lights and show people what you can do under the lights. We prove to people who we are in practice. I think I have 7 kids myself. And so I can get up on my soapbox and preach to my kids, and, when I'm passionate about something. But there's no doubt that they take more from what I do on an everyday basis, how I love their mom, how I treat, their siblings, how I go about my job. Is that, it's not just about what I do in that one big moment. It's about what do I do every single day. And I had never really thought about life that way. To me, it was like, oh, turn the lights on and I'm really good. I'm really good in that moment. But if nobody gets a chance to see that, or, maybe more importantly, to me, it was the coaches going, why should we trust you? Like, we don't see you doing anything on a daily basis that makes us say, oh, let's give him the ball and let's let him lead our team. And that was really the point in that clip in the movie of the coach saying that, like, dude, I don't know what you think you're showing us on a daily basis, but it's not anything that's going to lead you to playing in the National Football League. But that was a eye-opening moment for me to go, gosh, that makes so much sense.
What a huge lesson.
Yeah, I got to show my teammates what they can expect from me every day in practice. When we go into the weight room, I got to let the coaches know when I show up for meetings or I show up for preparation, or even if I'm running the scout team, this is what you're going to get every time you see me. This is what you're going to get in, the moments when nobody's watching, and this is what you're going to get in the moments when everybody's watching. And I never really, looked at it that way before that. I was one of the talented guys. I could throw the football.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just put me in the game and I'll show you.
Yeah.
And they were saying, no, show me now. Show me before I put you in the game. And isn't that so true in every situation? I mean, any, big time situation you're in, somebody's not just going to go, oh, here's the keys to the car. Let's see if you can drive it. They want you to show them all the different things you're going to do behind the scenes to let them trust you by giving you the keys to the car.